Hello. Diversity and inclusion. Who hasn't heard of those two words? Probably ever since we were a child. Probably we lived it when we were at school. Probably we've been experiencing it as we have been working. Yesterday we ran a webinar on diversity and inclusion with some C-suite leaders in the region. And we didn't look at the visible bias that prevents diversity or prevents inclusion to happen in the right way. We looked at those ones which are the invisible one. The visible one would be, like age, gender, obvious ones. But the ones that are the invisible one are the ones that are really the roadblocks on that path of diversity and inclusion. And there are about 12, 13 of them, and we took a poll in our session yesterday. And I'm here today to share with you the top ones that came out as being the roadblocks, those bias that act as the roadblocks on that path of diversity and inclusion. And they were, top of the list came culture. Then we had education, and then we had a tie for the third position. The tie was between beliefs and values. So basically in that webinar, our audience, our C-suite leaders who were in that webinar yesterday said that for inclusion and diversity to be occurring in our ecosystem, we need to first of all get rid of the bias relative to culture, the bias pertaining to education, and the last one, the bias pertaining to beliefs and values. And we ran two questions in that webinar, which I will solicit you to write down and do it for yourself, and why not with people in your ecosystem, your team members. And the first question was, how do these invisible biases, how do they act as a roadblock in our ecosystem today? So for instance, yesterday we asked ourselves, how does culture, education, beliefs and values, how do they act as roadblocks between us and embracing diversity and inclusion? And the second one was, who will be impacted? What will happen when we can get rid of those roadblocks? And one interesting fact, or some of them that came out yesterday, was things like, we will have more innovation in our working environment. We will have more engagement. We will have less frustration. So it would be interesting to hear what answers you come up with when you run those two questions with people in your ecosystem. It can be people in your personal life, or people in your professional life, or people that you meet socially. Have fun with those two questions, but at the back of the mind, please remember, the whole objective is for people to embrace diversity and to be able to include those who are different to us in that ecosystem for the betterment of everyone. Food for thought as usual. Bye-bye for now, and we will see you soon.